Hey everyone, welcome to Aces Full. Welcome back. And Craig Guy Sr. here is your host this evening. Hopefully everyone is enjoying themselves and staying safe and getting some of that good family time. If you caught my most recent video about writing a letter, hopefully you've accepted that challenge. I've got some few views on it. I don't do any Twitter accounts yet or Instagram. I'll probably have to start some of that. I'm not a real big social media guy, but here we are. Moving forward this evening, we're going to talk about self-discipline, but in cooperation with that, I'm going to talk about discipline and motivation because everybody kind of seems to feel that they all kind of tie in, and I guess in some respects they do, but I'm going to decipher the difference, and this is going to be really primarily the self-discipline aspect of it all. Motivation, the definition of motivation, the reason or reasons one has for acting or behaving in a particular way, right? And just in a short, the non-dictionary version, we all know what motivation is. We've all had some types of motives in our life. Discipline, the practice of training people to obey rules or a code of behaviors, getting someone to do something that you want them to do, basically, whether it's through work, whether it's through sports, whether it's through training, whether it's through working out, whatever. Everybody always hears, certain jobs, especially military, discipline. You always hear that term, that person lacks discipline. Or do they lack self-discipline? There's a difference, and here's the difference, all right? Discipline is the ability to control one's feelings and overcome one's weaknesses. So we talked about motivation. We talked about discipline, which is always a key word. And now we're going to talk about self-discipline, and that's what's going to drive this video today. All right. Motivation is simply a motive. You've gotten an idea, you've set a goal for yourself, and you want to obtain that goal, whether it's starting a new workout regime, whether it's after a promotion at work, whether you're currently now looking for a new job or something of that nature. That's a motive. You have a motive. You have an agenda and a goal. Now you have to execute that. So you have to make a definitive plan. And you're usually better off to keep the plan as simple as possible, right? The old KISS principle. Keep it simple, stupid. We've all said that before. We've all used that, right? But the simpler we keep the plan, the more likely the success of the outcome, right? You can watch a YouTube video tonight or whatever and get all fired up, motivated, and you're going to say, I'm going to get up tomorrow morning and I'm going to set my clock early and I'm going to go for a run. Well, if you lack self-discipline, it doesn't matter how motivated you are, because you will find many ways to make excuses to not get it done. All right? Again, we're talking about self-discipline. Discipline are those rules and factors that, make us who we are in terms of our work ethic and those things. It's a learned behavior. Right? We were all disciplined in some fashion or another as a child and growing up. Whether we played sports, we had coaches and things, there was always an expectation, a punishment, and a consequence if we didn't obtain the goal. Hey, you didn't score that touchdown. That's 25 push-ups. You didn't wake up on time and get out of bed. That's 25 push-ups, right? There's some kind of consequence to your actions to hold you accountable, to instill that discipline, right? Because we are trying to train and learn and set that goal and aspiration to get someone more disciplined. But at the end of the day, it's really that self-discipline that's going to make them successful, all right? And my opinion is that the self-discipline is the more important of this because it's the thing that's going to get you up off of that sofa, get you up on your feet. The hardest part about working out, I always tell people, the hardest part about working out is the first step out the door. Once you've got the wheels in motion and the body is in motion, right? A body at rest will stay at rest. A body in motion will stay in motion. And that's a fact. And why does it stay in motion? Because of self-discipline. Self-discipline. Okay? How do we obtain self-discipline, or how do we instill it, or how do we improve upon it? Make a list for yourself. Identify your strengths and your weaknesses. We all have them. We all have strengths and weaknesses. You have to be honest with yourself, right? You have to be honest with yourself. What are your strengths? Are you a good runner? Are you a good worker? Or, whatever the case is. But what's more important here is understanding your weaknesses, because that's where the self-discipline has to come into play. The only way you're going to overcome those weaknesses is have stronger self-discipline. Make a plan, set a goal. You've got a motive. See where all this is going together now? You have a motive, right? It's going to be that self-discipline that drives the motive. And you're going to hear me say that over and over and over. And I'm going to refer to my notes from time to time, as I always do here at Aces Full, right? Getting started with anything is always the hardest part, because we procrastinate. That's our human nature. We procrastinate. Because we are afraid of failure. We're afraid of failure. As human beings, a lot of times we're afraid of failure. But again, that's where that self-discipline is going to catapult you, and not worry about the failure. We have all failed at something. We have all fallen short at something in life. Anyone that says they haven't is not being honest. They're not being honest with you, and they're not being honest with themselves. Okay? You're going to have your good days, and you're going to have your bad days. But it's that self-discipline that keeps us moving forward. That keeps us moving forward. Again, going back to know your weaknesses. You can't improve unless you've identified what your weaknesses are. Maybe you have poor time management. Right? Maybe your work ethic is a little weak. Maybe you haven't taken the time to fully educate yourself on the job that you currently have. It doesn't hurt to do a little additional training. It doesn't hurt to get out a book or a manual. It doesn't hurt to do that, right? Keep your things simple, like I said earlier, because the simpler the goal, the more obtainable it is. And as you obtain little goals, you get bigger goals. That comes from self-discipline. That comes from self-discipline. Just simply getting out of bed on time and going to work. That is created by your self-discipline. You're not going to hold a job very long if you're not on time. You're not going to hold a job very long if you don't get, the boss gives you a timetable and says, I need this done by this date. And if you don't make that deadline, there's going to be a consequence. You know this. So write things down. It never hurts to document. Make as many notes and things as you can. Right? But in order to be self-disciplined, it comes from internal. It comes from internal. It's what we've learned. It's how you were raised. It's maybe a coach, a mentor. Somebody brought something to the table for you. You picked up on it. Right? But find that motive. Get that self-discipline and obtain that goal. You're going to find that with self-discipline, most people that possess good self-discipline are usually happier in life. And the reason why that is because they're always obtaining goals. They're always achieving what they set out to achieve. Goal-oriented people have motives. Those motives need self-discipline to achieve them. So as you're knocking things down in life and you're moving along, you're like, okay, got that. I bought my house, got a car. But you're a little bit happier with self-discipline. You're a little bit happier when you're able to get out of bed on time. You're a little bit happier when you set the alarm at night knowing you have to get out of bed on time. That comes from all the things that we've learned in life. It comes from maturity. It comes from the discipline. It comes from the motivation. But the self-discipline is what's going to make us the most successful. It's what's going to make us the most successful. Right? Again, make yourself a list. Strengths and your weaknesses. Build on your weaknesses. Doesn't hurt to with your strengths as well. But usually it's our weaknesses that hold us back. So you have to find a way to fix those. You have to find a way, right? It's really simple. It's all mindset. It's all about the mindset. If you have a problem with authority and those things, you don't like to be told what to do, you're probably going to struggle with self-discipline. In order to be a good leader, you had to at some point be a good follower. And that's where the self-discipline started. And it's amazing that once it kicks in, it just carries you through life. It just carries you through life. Understand the difference. Motivation, self-discipline, not the same. Self-discipline is going to drive that motivation. Pick a goal, execute the plan, let the self-discipline drive you to the end. Thanks for tuning in. Ace is Full, Craig Guy Sr. Happy Easter to everyone, and enjoy the rest of the night.